Hello and welcome back to a new video on the channel, and a very different one. This is the first ever time I will not be covering a movie or episode that came out recently. In fact, I won't be covering a movie or episode at all. And that's because I wanted to kick the year off with a challenge for myself and an interesting topic for all to enjoy. By that I mean I was gonna do a video on Invincible episode 5, but then it got pushed back and I needed to think of something else. But I did want it to be something I wanted to talk about, and something that was relevant, not just a cop-out. And despite the fact that many people have talked about this topic, I think I like it. What's the deal with streaming services? I was a streaming shill for a while. I was a big fan. You tell me I can get all the Lord of the Rings movies, all of the Batman movies, and Cartoon Network shows in one place. That's unreal. The prices aren't even too bad either, as a full year of most services is 1,000,000 times less than if you were to buy each show or movie individually. Just don't think about the fact that you're not watching 90% of the content. But recently, practically every streaming service has taken a major dive and become far less usable, affordable, and respectable. With 2023 being a garbage year for big movie companies, including ones overseeing services like Disney Plus and HBO Max, it got bad. So I'm here to judge how each one that I own looks after the fact, and if they are worth keeping. We'll start with the ones I care the least about, then ramp up to the big dogs in my eyes. First up is Hulu. I swear I haven't used Hulu in months, maybe a year. I can't actually remember Hulu doing much wrong, I just know that they've fallen into irrelevancy. Hulu used to be a big player, but with Disney and Warner Bros. Making their own platforms, it kinda just became worse Netflix. It was already worse Netflix, but at least it was just Netflix that it was competing with. And now, Disney has full-on bought Hulu, and it just feels like a skeleton of a service. If any of the big guys were going to go down, it was going to be Hulu. They kind of had no identity. The term Hulu original was a total fucking joke. The fall from grace is a bit sad, but only a bit. Let's move on. Amazon Prime. It's hard to consider Amazon a streaming service because it's not like all the others. No, you can just get everything. When you're looking for a movie to watch on a big platform, and you look up where to watch, the results will be the big platform, than Amazon Prime most of the time. There's still more of an identity for Amazon originals than there is for Hulu ones. I mean, hell, the video I was going to make was about an Amazon original. But people will most likely know it as the everything service, which makes it really annoying when they start increasing prices and including ads. If my Amazon starts getting ads, I'm just gonna fuck off to Pluto TV or something. There's really no point anymore. Prime has decided to just bully the people who don't want to pay even more by increasing the prices for all levels, then forcing you to buy the highest one. It's a surface level and see-through strategy, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work. Nearly every service I'll talk about in this video is doing this, and it's just obnoxious. Amazon Prime is one of the most difficult services to get rid of because it really is everything. And I genuinely think putting ads in is a terrible idea considering how many free platforms there are that have ads out there. While the content definitely isn't there, you can buy some physical media that you find important, cancel Prime, then use one of those. I'll be talking about one later that I think stands above the rest, so stay tuned. Still, Prime isn't the closest one to my chopping block right now. That would be Disney Plus. Yeah, seriously, the biggest and most popular company in film, and their shit-ass service is getting on my nerves the most. I'm mad at Disney Plus. I can't stand Disney Plus. Disney Plus started during the pandemic, and at that point, it was great. I was kind of into the layout where they would just display the 4 big companies putting out content, then also National Geographic. It worked for me personally. But then, they started making some weird-ass decisions, like making bundles for characters that have been in 3 Marvel movies, or charging $30 for a movie that you can just wait a single month to see for the normal price, or raising their goddamn prices just like everyone else, and adding ads just like everyone else. All of this makes me think that Disney Plus is maybe the least necessary platform out there, at least for me. I don't know about you, but my family's stash of DVDs contains pretty much all the good Marvel movies, all the Disney classics, pretty much all the Pixar movies, and the original Star Wars trilogy. Buy me a DVD of Andor Season 1, and I might be out. Most services I talk about here are coming out with new good content consistently, but Bob Iger can't put out something good to save his life. At this point, somebody else could make a fucking Mickey Mouse movie, and it might be better than their recent TV shows. There's also the problem that's been brought up of Disney Plus making it pointless to see Disney movies in theaters. You know, the companies that Disney owns, they're right there on the front page. So, if a new Star Wars film manages to survive the constant cancellations, why not just wait? Disney Plus is problematic for anyone who has bought it and the company who owns it. It's a bit of a shit show. HBO Max. This is the one I wanted to talk about the most. HBO goddamn Max, the success story gone wrong. I remember when people were making fun of HBO Max for barely even becoming a thing. HBO was going all over. It was HBO Now, then HBO Go, and it just seemed fake. But it finally became a thing, and it was awesome. Some of my favorite movies are here. Good Will Hunting, The Dark Knight, Fellowship of the Ring. I was loving it. Plus, all of Adventure Time and the spin-off shows, which are what I wanted to watch in the first place. But, speaking of animated shows, that's when things went horribly, drastically wrong. The HBO Max purge was genuinely sort of disturbing. I believe Infinity Train was the first show to be a big deal, as lots of fans adored that show and I'd seen a fandom for it growing. Then it got deleted. It was a show that only existed on HBO Max, and they decided to get rid of it, essentially meaning it doesn't exist anymore unless you have physical media. Soon after that, OKKO got shanked, which hurt me personally. I never actually watched that show, but I remember seeing it start up, and realizing that I'd witnessed the show's birth and permanent erasure was extremely sad. Those weren't the only ones, and Max is actually still doing that every once in a while to this day. Oh, did I say Max? Let's talk about that. HBO, after struggling to come up with a name forever, decided to ditch the HBO. They decided that the brand recognition didn't matter. It's just called Max now. I can't pretend I don't consistently call it Max because I do. It's shorter, but that doesn't mean it's better. It is far, far worse, and it doesn't make any sense. While this doesn't really matter, if the people at Warner Bros. Are willing to go through with this, they might just be insane. There's so much other shit that's going on with Warner Bros. Right now, as they struggle to stay alive by selling NFTs for DC movies, and I unfortunately would predict that HBO Max is going to get worse. But I still think it's my favorite. This is a batshit thing to say after explaining their multiple failures throughout the past year, but it's the catalog, man. It's the catalog. I just watched all of the Lord of the Rings extended editions, and I used HBO. I went on a David Lynch binge, and I watched both Eraserhead and Fire Walk with Me on HBO, because for some reason they're there. Each and every streaming service has committed at least one cardinal sin within the past year, and while HBO Max has committed many, they managed to stay on top for me by being less bad than the other bad ones. And now, you might start to realize why I'm making this video. They all kinda suck, don't they? Netflix. The OG, the MVP, the best in the game, Netflix. It's a total goddamn mess. I've always had personal beef with Netflix. I feel like this is the site that invented doom scrolling. There's an infinite amount of content to be found on Netflix, and most of it is dog ass. I also feel like I can never remember when something is on Netflix. It would be nice if there was a middle ground between knowing exactly what's going to be on a streaming service and having no clue at all. I think the closest thing to that is HBO. To be fair though, Netflix has a lot going for it. Netflix originals are very well known and popular. Despite having a similar interface to Hulu, it'll always be seen as the original and will never lose its brand recognition even if it doesn't attach itself to other companies. Netflix is the easy, common man streaming service, and it works pretty well. But when it comes to things like price increases, this might be the worst example. If you search Netflix increasing prices, the first thing Google suggests you search is Netflix increasing prices again. Plus, this is another one with a basic and premium plan, so trust that ads are coming very soon. And finally, you can no longer share your account outside of your house. Got a child going to college that wants to watch along with you? They can't. They have to buy a new account, because Reed Hastings is an evil, evil man. Last of all, while Netflix has good Netflix originals, what the hell is up with their release schedule? Stranger Things is basically all I'm talking about when I say Netflix original, and that shit isn't coming until 2025. And with a full year until that estimated release date, you can bet your ass it'll be pushed back. So look at that. Netflix is terrible too. What do we do now? Well, I'll tell you. Tubi! That's right, Tubi, you fucks. The classic example of a free streaming service made up of 4 random letters. What was that? Free? Yes, it is. And Tubi's got all kinds of shit. The Jetsons, Memento, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those 3 don't have a single thing in common, but they're all on Tubi. Is the interface bad? A little, but you're probably not even going to interact with it. Nearly all of my experiences with Tubi have been, I want to watch this movie. Let's look up where to watch this movie. Looks like it's not on Hulu, or Netflix, or HBO Max, but it is on Tubi. I'm gonna boot up Tubi and search for this movie specifically. And so, the endless doom scrolling through sequels to movies that look like stock photos doesn't need to happen. This is a service that is there when you need it, and is extremely unlikely to fuck you over with price increases because it's free. Now here's where the review turns negative, because it always does. There's ads. Tubi is free, and so it has ads. But if you think about it, does it matter anymore? Netflix will have ads, Amazon will have ads, Disney Plus will have ads. And you already have to pay for all those. So a hodgepodge of random shit, all on one free platform, and all I have to deal with is a few ads? Sign me up for Tubi, it's time to live the good life. 2023 was rough for the film industry. I'm not saying it was a bad year for movies, people that say that just haven't been looking hard enough, because it was a great one. But all over, you've got bombs for major studios, lots of delays due to very justified strikes, and of course, streaming hell. So with the new year coming on, I think it's time we start a renaissance. The Tubi Renaissance. 2024 is an election year? Okay, I vote Tubi. Hashtag Tubi 2024. It's time to step up and do the right thing. Thank you all for listening to my first of many rants. I think I'm done here. I've said my piece. I've made my statement clear. Free streaming is where it's at. Or pirating, but please don't tell anyone I said that. I might do more of these episodes throughout January because there's nothing coming out. I was really relying on consistent Invincible releases, but I'll have to improvise. Bye now.